All right, how we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Beat the Brother podcast. We got a lot of great topics, a lot of big trades to talk about today. I'm Jack here with my Illini friend and co-host Graham Eldred.
Hello, everyone. I'm just going to get this out of the way really quick. If you don't remember, a couple of episodes ago, we had a bet about the Indiana-Illinois game, and Illinois somehow got out of there with a win. I don't know how.
We blew you guys out. Wasn't even close.
Total fluke, 1 in 100 chance, but somehow it happened. So I have this now, which sucks, but we're moving on. Okay, I'm excited to jump into the latest news of the NBA, because that's enough college talk for today. Quick reminder, if you aren't already subscribed, make sure to do so because it does help us out a lot. We're going to start this episode off by talking about a little bit about the Bulls 76ers game today. The Bulls ended up losing by 9 or 11.
11, yeah.
Then we'll spend the rest of the episode going over trades that happened in the past couple of days and then potential trades that can happen.
All right, we're going to start off with talking about the Bulls 76ers game today. We're going to keep it kind of short, just say our piece, about 3 minutes, and we're going to start that now. If you want to start off, Graham, you go ahead.
Okay, so the Bulls lost. We lost by 11 points, you said?
119-108.
So DeRozan had 45 points, absolutely carried us. I did watch this full game today. Joel Embiid is an obvious problem. He's probably first in MVP right now, just unstoppable. But I was watching a video, and this is actually a good loss for the Chicago Bulls, I think, today. We were missing Zach LaVine, Kobe White, Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso, Patrick Williams, and Derek Jones Jr. All of them get significant minutes on our team, and we played a top team in the East who's basically healthy besides Ben Simmons and Matisse Thybulle. We played them very well.
Yep.
We had players like Matt Thomas, who usually shoots the ball very well, not shoot well at all. He was basically irrelevant out there. He shouldn't be getting any sort of minutes when our players come back. So hopefully they get healthy soon. Javonte Green had 17 points, which is a season high, I think, which is really nice. He looked really good. A problem for us, once again, is size. Having a 6'4" Javonte Green guard, a Tobias Harris type player, is a problem. He might have given up 3 and 1s to him, which is terrible.
Yeah, the 76ers always seem to shoot well against us, too. They shot much better from 3 than we did today. DeRozan carried 45 points. That's amazing. I think another good thing to look at is Vooch seems to be back. He usually plays very poorly against Embiid. He had 23 and 7. He can't guard Embiid. No one can guard Embiid. He could have 40 every night if he wanted to. Remember, when we get guys like Patrick Williams, Lonzo. Patrick Williams, by the way, news came out today that he should be back by the end of the regular season, which is very promising.
Exciting.
Yeah, honestly, we just need guys like Lonzo and Caruso, guys that can go in there and just not guard Embiid, but help at least, and double and get steals off that. Hopefully, trade deadline Thursday, we make a move like a Jakob Poeltl type guy, Marcus Morris Sr. type guy from the Clippers. That'd be great. But I agree, it was a good loss. We definitely needed to play well against a team with very short-handed. The 76ers are a team that I do not want to play in the playoffs.
No.
So the fact that we played them tough, we're into the end of the game, saw promising things from Io again and Javonte. This overall is a good game, so can't complain. Yeah. The loss sucks, but it's what it is.
I agree. Do they have Andre Drummond off the bench too, compared to Bradley, which is not a good matchup for us? I saw Dwight Howard is being made available, which I would not mind. Talking a little bit of smack about him a couple episodes ago, but that's for trade purposes.
Only because he's on the Lakers. When he comes back, when he comes somewhere else, he's fine.
He's on the Bulls, he'll become one of my favorite players.
Speaking of trade stuff.
One more thing. The 76ers shot 50% from 3. We shot 26%. Terrible.
Right.
So.
And we only lost by 11.
Right. Matt Thomas was 0 for 4, I think, from 3.
I think he was 1 for 5. He made 1.
Okay, he did hit 1. Oh, I do remember that.
He took 2 shots from like 35 feet out. Like, what was he thinking?
Yeah, really bad. We didn't get out-rebounded, though. And then Vooch was contesting Embiid well, too, all game. But it's Joel Embiid.
All right, we're going to move on to the trade deadline stuff because that is the most interesting stuff going on in the NBA right now. We'll talk about the one that happened today first. Caris Levert was traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Ricky Rubio. I want to say a first-round pick and a second-round pick.
Yeah, Ricky Rubio, a second-round pick from Miami, so that's not a very high pick at all because it's 2022. And then a lottery-protected first-round pick. Actually, 2 seconds, so 3 total seconds and a lottery-protected first.
Right.
from the Cavs, and the Cavs will not be in the lottery, so that pick will happen.
They'll be giving up the pick. I'll go first here. I like this move for Cleveland. What's good for them is Levert fits right into that 3 spot because they've been playing three bigs. So Markkanen can move to the bench, and you can have Levert play the 3. He fits well with Darius Garland, Jared Allen. He spaces the floor. I saw something today. It'd be pretty cool if Cleveland was to play Brooklyn in the playoffs and have Caris Levert and Jared Allen, who they traded for James Harden in that big deal.
That's a matchup nightmare for
Brooklyn,
by the way.
Oh yeah, because the bigs would kill him.
They would kill him,
and they have a lot of bodies to throw at guys like Durant,
right,
Harden, and Kyrie. So
they really do. They're a huge team. Another thing, they lost Ricky Rubio and Colin Sexton to a knee and Rubio to an ACL this year. Yep. So besides when Darius Garland doesn't play, which he hasn't played the last 5 games, the Cavaliers are terrible. They cannot handle the ball whatsoever. So having another guy to kind of take the weight off Darius Garland's shoulders is going to be really nice. Caris Levert can do that. Also, he's been playing much better basketball as of late. He just dropped like 42 on the Bulls or something like that. He always kills the Bulls. There's a certain few players like Wendell, Caris Levert, and Korkmaz.
Korkmaz kills us every time. I hate it. The 76ers never miss when they play us.
But yeah, I really do like the trade for them. And then the Pacers, I do like the trade for them as well. They're getting some valuable assets back, a couple shots, and I really want to see Indiana try and trade Sabonis and Miles Turner and start this thing over.
It seems like they're just like clearing everyone out and trying to get picks and stuff like that.
And I think that's the way to go. You can trade Malcolm Brogdon at the start of next season. PJ Warren maybe at the deadline after that. They have a lot of valuable pieces that teams would definitely love. So they're going to get a lot of valuable assets back for those players. So it'll be exciting to see what they do. One thing I'm scared of is management does not like to rebuild there because as long as they fill the seats, they're happy.
Right.
But for the betterment of the actual franchise and what the fans probably want is a full-on rebuild.
Right. For about 8 years now, they've just been since Paul George left, they've just been average every year. They've been in the playoffs. They've made a little bit of noise here and there, but never anything big. And then they're like, oh, next year, one more piece. They never get one more piece.
Right.
So I think a rebuild is in store. We'll talk about Sabonis in a bit. We'll move over to Robert Covington and Norman Powell now as well, who I don't know what Portland's doing. What the hell is Portland Trailblazers doing? They have a CJ now and Dame, and that's it.
Yeah, and it seems more and more like CJ might be gone. I
think Dame wants to leave too.
Yeah. So they got Norman Powell. The Clippers got Norman Powell and Robert Covington, and they're sending away Eric Bledsoe, expiring contract. That's basically what he is. Justice Winslow, another expiring contract, I think, but he's only 25. Keon Johnson, who was outside of the lottery first-round pick last year, maybe end of the first round, and they get a 2025 second-round pick.
Yeah. So, like, Keon Johnson, not bad, some potential.
Right.
It was a second-round pick, right?
It was a second-round pick.
Right. So they didn't get it first.
He might have been.
No, Keon was first round, I think, but they got a second-round pick in the trade.
Right, they got a second. Yes.
Right. So they pretty much gave them away. They gave Robert Covington and Norman Powell, who right now with Dame out, are their second and third best players behind CJ McCollum, and probably 2 of the best role players in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
They gave him away, and the Clippers only had to give up Eric Bledsoe on a second-round pick pretty much.
Right. Norman Powell is only 6'4", and he's been playing small forward for like the last 4 years of his career, dating back to the Raptors, which is, yes. First of all, I don't know why the Raptors traded Gary Trent for Norman Powell in the first place, or the Trailblazers. I don't know what they were doing. I thought Gary Trent and Anthony Simons maybe had a really good backcourt in the future with them. Gary Trent's only 24 compared to Powell, who's 26. And Powell still might have the edge right now, but Gary Trent Jr. is going to be a really good player. So I don't know what they were even doing with that, but moving Norman Powell and Robert Covington, who, like you said, are 2 very good role players. Norman Powell is closer to almost a star, not really, but he's an 18, 19 point a game guy who can play some defense.
And like, if you're the Clippers now, you got to wonder, like, they must think Kawhi and Paul George are coming back. Like, that was a win-now move.
I saw Tyronn Lue was talking about how Kawhi might not be able to come back, but the thing is, Norman Powell is on a big contract, but he's locked up for the next 2 to 3 years for sure. So they're going to have him.
I also think that the Clippers right now are being very quiet about Paul George and Kawhi,
Yeah,
and they're not giving out like any actual like any reliable reports. I don't trust
right.
anything they're saying about them because at first Paul George was a couple weeks or months, and then they're saying after the season. So which is it? That one they said they were very confident Kawhi will be back in March or April, a couple months ago, or as the season was beginning, and now like, oh, we're gonna shut him down the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see because if you're in the West, the Clippers are still, I think they're the 6th or 7th seed.
I think they're the 7th seed right now.
So if you're the Clippers and you get everyone back, like you can make a run at the
Mm-hmm.
playoffs or at the championship for sure.
Oh, 100%. And especially with role players like Norman Powell. Also, I saw something.
Oh, yeah.
Norman Powell on catch and shoot threes this year is shooting 45%.
Yep.
And with Kawhi and Paul George back, that's going to be a lot of Norman Powell's game, catch and shoot threes. And if you're shooting at a 45% clip around them, that's really good. That's 3 elite defenders within Kawhi, Paul George, and Norman Powell, and Covington too.
Covington's a pretty damn good defender also.
He is. He's having a down year for sure this year, not as quick as he usually is. And he's an expiring contract after this year, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. But I really do like this trade for them. And then for the Trailblazers, they do get some young pieces back, and I think it's finally time in Portland. There's a couple directions they can go with this. If they shut Dame down for the season, they might end up with a top 5 pick this year. And another thing is they only have Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons, who has a team option, Nazir Little, who has a team option, and McCollum, who might get traded as their contracts in the future. Everybody else is expiring. So that's a lot of money, maybe for another max slot this offseason that you can pair with Dame.
Right. It is a lot of money, but it's also like, I don't think Dame wants to be there right now. He's talked a lot of like stuff of being loyal to them, and that's great. But if you want a championship, you need to get out. Portland is not going to win a championship, especially in the Western Conference, in the next 2 to 3 years. And by that time, Dame's contract will be up probably, and it's time for him to leave. I would request a trade if I was him that way and get as much back as possible. You can get a couple all-stars in return, or an all-star and a really good role player in return for Dame. Get a good pick this year and build from there. Yeah, I think is the best route for them.
I agree.
And I think that's also the best route for Dame. I think Dame's done everything he could for Portland, and I think that if he was to leave or request a trade on, no one should be mad at him.
No, and nobody will be. Another thing about the Clippers is by making this trade, their luxury tax right now is absolutely through the roof. They are paying players an insane amount of money. So it'll be interesting to see what they do about that sort of problem, because Reggie Jackson gets paid. Kawhi, obviously, and Paul George get paid. Zubac gets paid. Marcus Morris, and now Norman Powell is getting paid with Covington. So that's a lot of money that the owner has to pay. If lot.
The Clippers want to get rid of some money, how about you send Marcus Morris over to Chicago? We'd love him over there.
And they also pay Serge Ibaka, who's probably gone by the deadline for sure, actually. He's definitely
another guy I'd be interested in.
Yep, for sure. I don't know how much he's played this year, how much.
Not much.
At all. But I still think Serge Ibaka at the age of 32 can still be an impactful player for a contending team.
Next is Brooklyn and Philly, James Harden. I was shocked when I heard that news. I didn't think they were going to move anything. I know that Philadelphia has been interested in James Harden, but I thought that was going to be an off-season talks, not now. So if that trade were to go through, I would expect Ben Simmons, Matisse Thybulle, maybe even Korkmaz plus a pick for probably James Harden and like a lesser guy on Brooklyn just to match players.
There are also reports that Philly doesn't believe they should be giving up more than Ben Simmons for James Harden.
Which I disagree with 100%.
Not even close. You need to give up probably Seth Curry, Thybulle, and a pick.
I think they said Maxey is untouchable as well.
Which he probably should.
Yeah, which means they have a lot of confidence in him. I think Thybulle and I think Seth Curry or Korkmaz you can get away with, especially if you're Brooklyn. Korkmaz can shoot. Thybulle can defend. They were getting a shooter and defender there. And Ben Simmons, I think, would fit better, would fit well with them.
Would fit well.
Because you have Kevin Durant on your team, so you could fit well with Ben. You can make Ben Simmons fit.
The thing is about Harden is how much playmaking are you really going to lose with Ben Simmons there? Because Ben Simmons, people forget, is still a really good playmaker. And at the same time, he's also probably a top 5 defender in the league. He can guard 1 through 5. Occasionally, he can't guard players like Embiid or Jokic, but I think that that's a really good fit for them, taking a little bit of load off Kevin Durant guarding the best players. Ben Simmons is a lockdown defender, and they don't need a lot of scoring with Kyrie and Kevin Durant, and maybe Seth Curry if they get him too.
Right. And Kevin Durant will fit with anyone. The problem is Ben Simmons and Kyrie don't fit. Ben Simmons, because Kyrie Irving isn't like a catch and shoot type player. Mm-hmm. He is off the bounce. Everything's off the bounce usually with Kyrie Irving. So it's going to be interesting if that trade does go through, which I really don't think it will. But if it does go through, it's interesting to see how will Ben Simmons actually fit there, because I don't think he does. He can fit with Kevin Durant maybe, but he doesn't have the shot to fit with Kyrie Irving, and he doesn't have the offensive repertoire that Kyrie does.
Yeah, and at the same time, Ben Simmons hasn't played basketball in almost a year now, right? Yeah. Something close to that. So he has to still get back into the groove of actually playing basketball.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting in itself. And then the James Harden side of it with Embiid is really, really nice. But also another thing is Harden is not terrible, but he's an average off-ball like player. He needs the ball in his hands. And I think that pick and roll will work really well. Getting Embiid those post touches all the time, because that's what he needs. He's a really good passer out of the post. He just destroys everybody in there.
Yeah,
that should be an interesting fit to see how.
I think that would fit. I think that would fit perfectly, actually, in my opinion. I like the idea of James Harden. He can play on the outside for a catch and shoot 3, and that pick and roll would be deadly. Maybe the best pick and roll of all time, because Embiid is pretty much the closest thing we've seen to Shaq since Shaq.
Since Shaq, yeah.
It's ridiculous. Embiid he can easily get 40 tonight easily, and he can get 40 on any night he wants to.
Any night.
There's not one guy in the NBA that can guard him. He kills Gobert every time, who do you think would be the best option to guard him?
Right.
So that pick and roll will be because James Harden runs a deadly pick and roll with Nicholas Claxton. Right. Imagine running that with Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I think Nicholas Claxton is – I don't really know how to say this, and I don't know how great of a lob threat Embiid necessarily is. But, if he gets the ball down low, he's scoring things. So that should not be a problem.
He has great hands, too. So he can throw.
Philly does lose a lot of defense with that trade. If they lose Thibault and Simmons, I don't know who their great on-ball defenders are besides Danny Green's a good defender, but, he's a little bit older. I don't know how good of a defender Maxey is, but I don't think he's –
Embiid's the force inside, though, defensively.
Oh, 100%. He's one of the best big defenders in the NBA.
That would – in terms of playing teams like the Bulls, though, who are they going to have guards Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan?
Right.
Because you saw DeMar gave him 45 today, and they had no answer. And Danny Green was guarding him most of the game.
Mm-hmm. And that's usually a Thibault job. And Thibault usually actually guards LaVine, I think. But, you switch him on to who's ever hot.
Right. So those are those are 2 trades we went through, and now the main rumor. But a couple more I want to touch on. Domantas Sabonis, the Wizards are very interested, are trying very hard to get him before Thursday's deadline. What would you give up if you're Washington, though?
Washington does have a lot of pieces. I'm guessing Indiana, if Indiana wants to go young, it's probably going to be they have Kispert, they have Adia, they have Hachimura, they have Gafford. So there's a lot of options there. I would like to take a chance on Rory Hachimura. I don't know how available Adia is. Probably not as much as the rest of them. I don't think
Kispert's available either. Or not. He's probably available, but not right now.
I think Hachimura might be a good fit for them.
I think Hachimura would be good. I think Harrell, you throw Harrell in that.
Yeah, probably Harrell.
Probably throw Harrell and Hachimura in for Domantas Sabonis, maybe a second-round pick too. But
I think they're going to need more than that. I think it might have.
They want a Vooch type package. Last year we got Vooch for Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter Jr., and a first round pick, a good first round.
2.
Pick. We gave them 2 first rounds or a second round in the first.
Was it?
I think it was a first and a second.
It might have been a first and a second.
I don't know. I think that's a lot because Rui Hachimura.
I think it is too.
That he was very good and can be very good.
He did.
So you're getting a small forward, power forward in the future. Montrezl Harrell can be good. He showed this year that he was like most improved 6 man of the year level starting through the first 25 games of the season.
Right. It was 2 first round picks, by the way.
Okay. Well, yeah, that was a lot. So maybe you may have to throw in a first round pick then instead of a second round.
I think a first has to be in the trade, and the Pacers should do this trade. I don't know what else is on the table for them. I know the Kings are probably looking into Sabonis, and so are a couple other teams. But I like Hachimura. He can almost play the Sabonis type role if he takes the reins of an offense. He's probably 23, 24. I don't think he got drafted did he get drafted as a freshman? I'm not sure. Probably. But I think he could really take control of their offense and move them into the right direction. They're not going to be a good team for the next 2 years, and that's totally okay. You want those top couple picks to turn your franchise around.
Right. And then the last one we'll touch on very briefly was Siakam. The Mavericks are interested in Pascal Siakam. I don't see that happening. The Mavericks do have a lot of pieces they can give up to Toronto, but none of them are Siakam level. And honestly, if you're Dallas, do you really want to give up like 3 of your role players or 2 of your role players for a guy that has shown that he could possibly be a 19-point per game scorer? You already have Luka and Porzingis. And honestly, Luka makes your role players 2 times better because he's just that good of a passer.
Yeah, I would like the trade for Dallas, but Toronto doesn't do this. If anything, Toronto is going to go out and try and get Miles Turner, which is going to be a great fit for them, and they're going to be a tough playoff team. There are a lot of long athletic players on that team, and Turner would only add to that. So I'd really like that for them. I think Turner's either going to Charlotte or Toronto, one of the two. But I would like it for the Mavericks because, anything you can do to take pressure off Luka is really good. Siakam can get you post touches, some face-ups a game, anything you can do. And then they have a problem with Brunson, Dallas themselves. He wants $20 million. Do you give him $20 million? Do you not? It's really tough because he's a good player.
Very good.
But I don't know. That'll be interesting.
Hardaway went down for a while too recently. So for Dallas, you're looking for players that can get you that 19 or 18 a game that Hardaway was giving you because when the playoffs come, you need that other guy. And the thing about Tim Hardaway that I really like is that he knows his role. He knows with Luka, he's not going to take a guy off the dribble. He's a catch and shoot player. But he can give you 6 threes a game.
Oh, 100%. If he gets hot, he's giving you 6 threes a game. And he's a decent defender too, as far as I know. What else do we have? I think that's basically it.
Yeah, those are all the ones that there's been other rumors as well, but those are the main ones.
There's a Fox Randall rumor.
There's what?
There's a De'Aaron Fox for Julius Randle rumor.
I think for De'Aaron Fox and the Knicks is probably good.
I would love that.
For the Kings, though, do you really want Julius Randle?
Why would you want Julius?
Why would you want that?
I mean,
I don't like that, really.
Davion Mitchell has been playing well lately, and they're kind of loaded in that backcourt right now because Halliburton just had a career-high 17 assists. So getting a player like Randle would be good. Is that enough to make a push? No.
I think you do need to move De'Aaron Fox because I feel like they want to keep Halliburton instead.
And they should.
Randle would be a high-level player you can get in return. But I don't know. I don't really see – I think that works decent for the Knicks. I don't really know how well that works for the Kings. Randall's not getting you past the first round. And he's also not letting you back into the lottery to get a pick. So, you're kind of doing what the Pacers were doing. And you're staying right in the middle. You're stuck with like a 9 or a 10 pick, and you're going to be out on the play-in probably, right?
Right. Okay, so that's going to be all for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed the show and want to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, that would be amazing. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at @beat_the_buzzer, and TikTok is TikTok.
All right, here. Actually, the TikTok, by the time this episode comes out, the first TikTok should be up. It's Beat the Buzzer, just straight up. Just @Beat the Buzzer, type that in, and you'll find it. Also, trade deadline is Thursday. So we're planning on doing our trade deadline special right after the trade deadline ends, probably around 4 o'clock on that Thursday. So it should be up either that Thursday around 6 or that Friday morning. So big day on Thursday, best day of the year if you're an NBA fan. We'll go
right. Also, if you guys disagree with any of our takes and want to let us know down in the comments, please do. We're happy to argue.
Yeah, we're great at arguing. Thanks you guys for tuning in, and we will definitely catch you guys Thursday after a lot will be happened on Thursday. So we have a lot to talk about.
A lot.
Yep. Thank you. I'll see you guys later.